Welcome back, everyone, to Open Line, talking about growth and development in Nashville and the historic 9, Nashville 9. These are 9 properties or areas in Nashville that are potentially threatened by development. And as we grow, we sometimes lose our character. Brian Tibbs is president of Historic Nashville and has concern about some of that. We're going to continue to go through this list of 9 properties, but let's go back to the phones. And Fanny. Hello, Fanny.
Yes.
Hi, what's on your mind?
I'm looking at the Historical Nashville 9.
Okay.
I'm a 50-year member of Capers Memorial CME Church, and I want to know how do we get on that list.
So this is the first one. You're a member of that church. 50 years.
Yes.
Wow, 50 years. This was built in 1925. Is it beautiful inside?
Yes, it is. You haven't been. Ooh, it's fantastic.
And now, are you worried about it? Is it?
Yes, I am.
And now, why are you worried?
Because we probably need to make sure it's taken care of. And my concern was I did not know it until I saw it in the Tennessean.
Right, right.
With my picture, my church picture on the front page.
Well, that's good. Okay, so how did they get on there?
Well, over the years, starting already, people can get on our website and list properties or buildings or definitely historic sites that they feel are endangered. So this list can come from anybody on our on our membership, or you can do it. You can get on our website and do it. So after the list is compiled, a group of us and a group of people that are pulled from different aspects of our historical kind of community look at it and decide if it's why is it relevant. So I don't have the person who actually nominated it in front of me, but someone nominated it, and we thought it was important. Important because of the type of architecture it is, important because of the community that it serves, and important because McKissick & McKissick were the architects. Like I pointed out earlier, how McKissick & McKissick is the oldest African-American architecture firm in the country, started right here in Nashville. So it's important that we are sensitive to these buildings, and Capers just fits it. And I mean, even if you look at looking at the photograph, you can see it's a very stately building, and it's still in very, very good salvageable state. So not all the time does it mean that there's a guy with a bulldozer sitting out in the driveway. It doesn't always mean the worst. It could just mean that we want to make sure that there's attention brought to it so that it will be around for another 100 years.
All right, Fanny. Now, does that answer your...
For the historical marker being placed at our church under the membership of Reverend Coleman. He put me on that assignment to go to the historical, so I'm concerned.
Right,
that's great.
Right. Okay, all right. Well, Fanny, thank you for the call. Let's go to William. Hello, William.
Yes.
So what's on your mind?
What's on my mind? You know what Fall School is on 8th and Chestnut?
Do you know?
Fall School. You got the Fort Negley right there. You got the drugstore, right?
Okay.
Okay, I was raised there. When I was a kid, and I used to play up there with the South State. There used to be a Fort Negley Hill.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And then, it's all right. I do construction, but on some of them buildings around it, they building constantly and putting water and sewer plumbing in. But the neighborhood's been a nice neighborhood. But dominantly, what I'm saying is that everything is just changing. It's moving. It's changing the culture of Nashville right now.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot. I live on Cherry Street. Mm-hmm. You can look that up. Fall School right there, the post office, the interstate, and all this stuff, And it kind of made me look sad. I'm 59 years old.
Right.
And I played there when I was a kid. A.B. Collier was there. I mean, back then, the Caddy Pet Shop, all this stuff. We come up as kids there. I see, I'm not saying the white folk taking it out, the people with the money putting all this stuff in. And all my people, where we going? Either go to a nursing home or just die. I mean, you gotta have something to look at besides these big old funny looking houses. They ugly.
This is, thank you very much, William, for that. And I don't think you're alone in the way you feel, and it's happening in a lot of neighborhoods.
You know, and that's a good point too. Those are stories that he was just telling. Those are things that once it's gone, you know, it's a memory. And you're going to have some memories, and some, you know, memories are great, but that's the point of, like, especially when you look at a full neighborhood, if the whole neighborhood just loses all of its character, loses all of its history, there are no more stories. The stories are just, you know, almost legends. And, you know, the point he brought up about playing on this, you know, playing here, and I think that's what's kind of, you know, when people just need to sit back and think about it before you look at a building, you can't, you know, I can't do anything with it. Just think about the fact that there's more to it, and you're starting to lose more and more communities in the fabric of it. So I like that call, because that tells more of the soul behind some of these properties. The
next property that is on your list as we go through the Nashville 9 of endangered homes or properties, Colonel Tom Parker House. This is in Madison. Right. There it is, right there. What's the history here?
And this is his favorite already, so he's already let that out. But it is an 80-year-old stone building, and it is the former home of the office of Colonel Tom Parker, of course, legendary manager for Elvis Presley and Hank Snow and Eddie Arnold.
So Elvis Presley was in that house?
Elvis Presley was in that house, and I heard stories about he would come and actually sleep on the floor at certain times of his career. I would assume it was early on in his career.
Yeah, it seems like they should have a bed.
Yeah, but that is the very house that he you know, that Elvis actually would go over and spend the night in. Parker lived there with his wife from 1908 to 1986, so it hasn't been that long since it was a home. And he's owned the property from 53 to 92. I don't think I'd ever seen him that big if it wasn't for him, said Elvis. So, you know, Elvis really thought a lot of Tom Parker, and it's a historic landmark, and it's extremely important to Nashville's music history. And it's one of the few remaining buildings in Tennessee directly related to Elvis Presley, who often stayed there when he was, you know, recording songs on RCA Victor Studio B on Music Row. We'll make our you know, reference back to Music Row. It was also housed, the Elvis retains original features, includes concrete shingle roof, so it's actually in good shape.
It is in good shape. It's a law office.
It's a law office now. The owner was at our Nashville 9. He came up and spoke, and it is, you know, people, I guess, still come by and look at it. And he wants to do more with that, kind of make it more of a tourist attraction. So this is a good story. The building's in great shape. It's well taken care of, and what the owner wants to do is how to kind of position it for the future. So this is something, even maybe after he's sold it or moved on, or whatever his intention will be, that it will be able to be preserved for what it is. And, you know, what we do have is a program called Historic Easements, where we actually own an easement on a building, and it helps with you can get tax credits, get tax relief from it. But what it does is it protects the facade of the building or property for forever. And people are not able to, even if it changes hand, we'll still hold that easement. And so that's one of our big tools that we have, is an easement program. And that easement program can help the owners too with some tax things later on.
So the owner is currently, as I understand it, considering or looking to sell it. And they're looking for a preservation-minded buyer.
And I'm not sure if they're actually looking to sell it. Potentially they are, but what they are very, they're very, you know, they want to make sure it is taken care of, and they want to do more than just maybe a law office with it. Maybe they do want people to know, you know, Colonel Tom Parker lived there, and Elvis, you know, would spend the night there. So they want to make sure that use can be, you know, celebrated and used more in the future.
That was also home of the Elvis Presley fan club.
Yeah, isn't that something?
So they had his publicity department was there. They had all these old, like, pictures and stuff. There's actually a YouTube video that we don't have, but there's a YouTube video that shows all the stuff that was in there. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
So it's in Madison. It's one of these uniquely Nashville sites.
It's a 12-15 Gallatin pipe, so drive by it, you'll recognize it.
Yeah, drive by it. Okay, next one is historic apartment buildings along West End, Elliston Place.
So during the early 20th century, West End and Elliston Place evolved into a really desirable neighborhood with many residents choosing to live in these upscale apartment buildings, such as the Westboro, which is pictured. However, in recent years, several of these apartment buildings have been demolished for high-rise and redevelopment projects. The remaining apartment buildings have this still unique architectural feature with the original hardwood floors, fireplaces, moldings, tile work, and it really gives them a character that cannot be found in a lot of the new buildings. And we're just seeing like right around the Welch College area where many of these old mansions were torn down, and there's so much because it's such a great spawn into the city that developers are looking at this. This is a great place for redevelopment, but they're going fast. They're
going super fast. I mean, what you're talking about here with Elliston Place, West End, right across from Vanderbilt. I mean, this is like one of the highest rent areas going.
Yeah, it really is.
And so they're tearing, they're tearing these places down just like that.
Yeah.
And they're building these new places with salt swimming pools and you know, that are beautiful, but they're very different from that.
They really are. They're very different, and it's just there's so few that are still around, but there's still a few that we really wish we could just keep them all at this point, because so many have gone, but they're so unique and so special that our hope is that developers will look at a way to take that and renovate them for the future, as opposed to just looking at the easy way and just tearing those down.
So, all right, before we go to break, how do you do that realistically? So if I own that,
yeah,
I have. What is my motive? In the end, it has to be, well, I'm motivated by just the goodness of I want to preserve this, which is a good and appropriate thing.
Right.
Or, maybe that is my motive, and then I die and it goes to my heirs, and they're living in another city. They're like, I want the most money I can get for it. Yeah. I'm going to sell it and be done with it. How do you stop it?
It's difficult. I mean, it's difficult, especially when it's passed down to people who may not have the same feeling about the building that the original owner did. What we can do is we can have a historic easement on it, number one, so that way it will protect it as it goes forward. But also we can help bring the new owners or future owners aware of the architectural significance, the historical significance of that particular property. But it's tough. I mean, it's other people's money. It's other people's investment. I get that. But what we hope is that people will look at the potential of some of these properties and not just how hard it's going to be.
And just start the conversation. Okay, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back and look at some more of these properties. We have 5 more. So we're going to go through them pretty quickly.
Okay.
But they're interesting. All right, we'll take a break. Be back right after this.